Adam Brown leads the cars out onto the grid for race 2 here at Oulton Park at the Hyperdrive ST-XR Challenge. The grid is set by the race 1 results. Adam Brown and Greg Spate are on the front row again from William Heslop and Christopher Rowlands, then Jason Hennifer and Matthew Spencer, followed by Lee Shropshire and Paul Bratell. Top 10 is completed by Matthew Eldridge and Mark Noble, followed by Paul Green and Darren Watson. Peter Footers comes next alongside Jonathan Shaw from Andy Mellor and Ian Billington, rounding out the top 16, and then Matthew Morton, Tony Mumford, John Spencer and Lewis Barron complete the top 20. It should be another all-action-packed 15 minutes on the Island circuit here at Oulton Park. Let's see who can come out on top on this occasion. So once again at the front row of the grid, Adam Brown, your pole sitter on the left-hand side. He won race 1 earlier on today. Can Greg Spate or William Heslop or anyone else do anything about that? Lights up on the top left of the screen, lights out, and race number 2 at Oulton Park is underway. Good start from the front row, but yet again from row 2, a cracking start for William Heslop. He shoots the gap between Brown and Spate and gets the whole shot to lead into Old Hall Corner. So Heslop leads, Brown second, Spate third. 2 STs go to combat in 4th place. Running wide on the exit of Old Hall as Paul Green goes sideways, one way then the other. Oh, and clatters into Ian Billington. Billington off into the barriers. Paul Green's car in the middle of the road. Car scattering every which way to avoid contact. And I'm afraid to say, after some very hefty contact between the pair, it looks as though both of their races are out on the spot. Well, there's some of the tail enders after that. There's Jonathan Shaw battling with one of the Barons in the XR3i towards the back of the field. Mark Noble also down the field after avoiding the contact. Rest of the field races away down past Lakeside for the first time, and there the recovery unit and the marshals already on the scene for Ian Billington. Hopefully he's okay after that very hefty whack into the barriers. And there is Paul Green clambering out of his rather mangled XR2. It's good to see him out on his own steam. That's the main thing. Up towards the chicane for the first time, and a cracking start for Paul Bratell. You can see started back in something like 10th position, but already up to P6 and challenging current class leader Christopher Rowlands, who won the class earlier on in race 1 today. Up there in P6 is already Matthew Spencer after a good start for the third of the STs. But the 3 of them are chasing a trio of XR2s once again, with William Heslop, the man who finished 3rd in race 1, already in the lead and trying to pull away. Brown in 2nd, and then it's Greg Spate in 3rd, followed by the 3 STs with Rowlands, Bratell and then Spencer. Out under the bridge exiting Druids and down towards the right-hander at Lodge Corner. Through the right-hander, Heslop now heads the field out over the crest of Dearly, but onto the pit straight to end lap 1. So a cracking start for Heslop has paid off this time. He leads the way from Brown and then from Greg Spate in 3rd. As Spate looks up the inside line for 2nd place, he's almost got it through, but has to back out because there's yellow flags. The reason being is right there in front of you. Off to the right is Ian Billington's Fiesta, and to the left should be Paul Green's to head down the hill up towards Cascades. Oh dear, Paul Green's car looking very second-hand and rather sorry for itself after the first lap contact. But he should be back hopefully for the next rounds at Croft, which are in a few weeks' time. On board with Greg Spate, you can see his eyes fixated onto the back of Adam Brown's car ahead of him. The eyes certainly fully focused as he heads through Island Bend. Just lurking in the mirror there at the top was Christopher Rowlands in the leading ST in Class D. A little bit of a misshift there from Greg Spate, but he holds on to 3rd nonetheless. And again, making most of the boxy shape of the XR2s to get a fantastic tow down the hill. And we know how good Greg Spate is under brakes, but the pair of them are allowing William Heslop to get up the road and possibly go on to score his first ever race victory full stop, because we saw Adam Brown pick up his first win in race 1. Can we get 2 new race winners from both races this weekend here at Oulton Park? Be fantastic for the championship, but Greg Spate, I'm sure, will want to say something about that if he gets a chance. And here goes Rowlands in 4th, followed by Matthew Spencer in 5th. Usually at the front of the field, the XR2s do tend to dominate at the front. Usually you do get the occasional XR3i into the mix, but now we've got the additional elements of the Fiesta STs. It really does add some different competition for these XR2s to battle with, and you can see the likes of Christopher Rowlands and Paul Bratell and Matthew Spencer. Once they get a grasp of these Fiesta STs, they really can keep with the front-running XR2s, and it really shows. Chris Rowlands, of course, making full advantage of the fact that he spent a year racing this car in 2018, the first year the class was introduced, and certainly taking full advantage. But Matthew Spencer, who's an experienced XR3i racer from Class B, has certainly taken to these STs like a duck to water as they head down through Cascades for the 3rd time, past the broken cars of Billington and Paul Green. So Heslop continues to lead the way. Adam Brown has really closed the gap in here between himself and the leader. We're back on board with Greg Spate, down towards the island hairpin, back down through the gears. And again, we close under braking, hug the inside line through the tight 180 degrees of the right-hander. Back out through the other side, they'll pop over hilltop. Already you can see in front, the Heslop is not comfortable taking the racing line. He knows that Brown is lurking behind him. He has to go to the inside to defend. Once he knows that he's safe, he heads back up towards the racing line, turns his way through Hislops for the third time. Again, Adam Brown just lifting that inside rear wheel through the second part of Hislops. Shows how stiffly sprung and quick he's using that car. Up underneath Clay Hill, under the bridge. There's Rowlands in fourth, trying to keep touch with our top three, but he is at the moment the runaway Class D leader. Jason Hennefers is also still leading Class B. And back in Class C, but some way down the order, is Mark Noble recovering in Class C. Had some dramas in race one after he had a spin in the opening laps up at Hislops. Ended up finishing 10th, and then he's been held up in the opening stages by the incident between Billington and Green. He took to the grass as one of the cars taking avoidance. Found himself right towards the back of the field. Now then, already the leaders are coming up to put a lap on one of the Bowrons and one of their XR3Is. So a slow start for one of them as they head through Old Hall Corner on lap 4. Still Heslop from Brown from Spate. Three of them tear their way down towards Cascades. A sudden drop before the right-hander. And Brown is starting to shape up Heslop for an attack here as they turn through the left-hander and up past Lakeside. Once again on board with Greg Spate, getting a great onboard shot here. Looking forwards and watching these two cars in front battling as Brown closes back under brakes. Almost too close, in fact. He heads to Island Bend, but Spate is there waiting, just like Heslop was before in race one, just sitting back in third place, waiting for his moment. He knows that the slightest slip up from either car in front can give him a prime opportunity to slide past into second place or even the lead. Just in the background, the STs are putting a lap on the Bowron XR3i. But so far, they've lost quite a bit of time to our leading trio, who really are using all the pace they've got at their fingertips to pull away here in a race of their own. Out of Niggerbrook again, under Clay Hill, underneath the bridge. And they really have all concertinaed up now, so Heslop doesn't have a leading advantage as much as he did earlier on. Now he really has been closed down by Brown and Spate in their efforts to snatch a race victory. Brown wants his second of the day. Spate wants his first of the weekend and of the season, but Heslop also wants his first one full stop. He hasn't won a race at all overall, just as Brown did before the first race. Now he wants to make it 2 first-time race winners from 2 races. How cool would that be for the ST-XR Challenge? The new generation taking to the front of the field and already taking the top spot. Down towards Old Hall. They sweep in together, followed by the 2 STs of Rowlands and then Matthew Spencer, followed by Matthew Eldridge, Lee Shropshire. Then the Class B leader, that's Jason Hennifer again. There's Paul Brattel, he's fallen back a little bit after his super start from row 5 on the grid. Whoops, still a wide from Jason Hennifer there in the XR3i, but he's got a very comfortable lead over his competition as the bottom end of the top 10 turns its way into Cascades once again. Let's have a look at this battle then. Class B XR3i versus Class D Fiesta ST versus Class A Fiesta XR2, because behind him that appears to be Darren Watson in the ex-Justin Roberts car. Looking ahead as we see on board Mark Noble, that's actually Darren Watson getting up the inside, I think the pair of them, so a cracking move from Darren Watson in what should be only his first weekend. We've got the onboard shot here from Mark Noble, trying to keep touch in the Class C Fiesta SI. And now we look back to our battle that's going on between our 3 different class runners. Hennifer's got back through, but Watson meanwhile is up the inside of Brattel into Hislops as Hennifer continues to press on in his Express Finals backed XR3i. Through up the inside went Darren Watson, so the rookie not driving like he's got rookie plates, he's certainly driving like he's been in this championship for quite a while. He's got a very capable car underneath him, a multiple race winner in Justin Roberts' ex Fiesta XR2, and he's using it well. As are these 3 at the front, as again Brown sweeps to the inside to take a look up the inside of Heslop. But again, William makes his car the widest thing in the venue and makes it stick. Now then, on board with Greg Spate, he's looking up the inside for 3rd place. He did this towards the end of the first race. He's looking to the outside line as he did in race 1. Down into Old Hall. Can he get the switch back on the exit of Old Hall? The answer's no, because Adam Brown carried so much more speed and momentum out of the corner. Look how much he's pulled away on the run towards Cascades. Back towards the bottom of the top 10, we see Hennifer, followed by Darren Watson. So it's Escort versus Fiesta XR2. There's Mark Noble behind them. Watson pulls out, has the inside line for the first part of Cascades, but for the second part he'll be on the outside line. Can he make it stick? He's gone through. For the time being, as he made it through, as he carried too much speed, the answer is too much speed. Over the grass, bounding his way through like a bucking bronco. Whoa, look at that. Talk about youthful exuberance from Darren Watson as he bounds his way back onto the circuit. 10 out of 10 for effort, Sunshine. Meanwhile, a little further back, or up the order I should say, that's Eldridge versus Shropshire, followed by this ongoing battle now between Jason Hennifer and Mark Noble, who's got past Paul Brattel now. And just in the background, we saw the recovering Darren Watson after his little escapade across the grass on the exit of Cascades past Lakeside. Jason Hennifer then, as we said, ended up 4th in points in the Class B standings last year. He'll be hoping to go 3 better because, as we said before, drivers like Mike Blackburn and Lee Barron aren't here this year. And Matthew Spencer, as we've seen, has moved up to Class D in one of the new STs. So Jason Hennifer looking to try and take the early advantage in the class. Speaking of advantage, William Heslop doesn't have one because now he's under threat from Adam Brown once again, with Greg Spate waiting in the wings as they turn their way again through Old Hall Corner. All 3 of them together as they head up now towards Cascades, past the stricken XR2s of Beddington and Green. One up the inside line goes Brown. That's a big move up the inside. I think there was a tag on the left rear. Brown tries to make his way through, and he has. That won't sit well with Heslop if he's not too careful. But now here comes Greg Spate. He's throwing himself into the mix. All 3 of them together. Heslop throws the block. Spate goes up the inside line. Spate move for second. Can he get this over the lead? The answer's no. There's contact. He was too late on the brakes. Classes into the side of Brown. Spate goes off the road onto the grass. Heslop goes back through into the lead. Brown back into second place. And we're back where we started. Like it never even happened. So Heslop back into the lead. Brown second. Spate third. But now the gaps are substantially bigger. It's Heslop back with a small advantage of about a few car lengths, with Brown in second and Spate third. But what a dramatic sequence that was. It didn't really change anything because Heslop lost out after the contact at Cascades. Then Spate went storming up the inside line, made contact with Brown. He's not finished yet. Now he's going up the inside line of Brown. He did this twice on the outside line towards Druid. This time on the inside line in race number 2. He's got it. Greg Spate finally gets the move done. A lot cleaner this time, I have to admit. On Adam Brown, who fights back on the inside line. He's not finished yet. Down towards the right-hander. Up at Lodge Corner, and Heslop now trying to escape up the road whilst the 2 cars behind battle, because the harder they fight each other, the easier it's going to be for Heslop to make a break in the lead, and he's doing just that, leaving the 2 cars behind to squabble over second place. As here comes Spate again to the inside line, sweeps towards the pit wall, has the inside run for Old Hall Corner, and again Brown has to capitulate and let him through for second place, but stays right under his rear boot lid as he comes down towards Cascades. There's Rowlands in 4th in the leading ST. Heslop trying to escape up the road. But Greg Spate now with clear track in front of him. Can he start to reel in that advantage that Heslop has temporarily managed to stretch out? We're on board with Spate. And that white dot in the distance, that is William Heslop, the race leader. Growing ever bigger as we charge in under brakes. Swing through the 180-degree right-hander at the hairpin at Island. And now we head over the hilltop and up towards Hislops. And you can just see that Spate is putting a slight gap now on Adam Brown in 3rd place, and keep an eye on Chris Rowlands behind him 4th, because he's not too far away. As we said earlier on, these STs, they can lap as quick as these front-running XR2s if they have the right man at the wheel of them. And Chris Rowlands, of course, with a year's experience at the wheel of that ST after debuting it last year in the class, certainly making the most of everything he's learned, as well as his natural pace. There he is, to keep in touch with our leading XR2s. So that lead gap has started to spread out just a little bit here. There goes Rowlands in 4th. There's Matthew Spencer in 5th. He's adapting well to the ST after his XR3i seasons. As we head towards the closing stages of the race now, William Heslop who did have quite an advantage, has seen that almost evaporate in a matter of corners, courtesy of Greg Spate. So it appears as though in clear air, Greg has got in more than enough pace to start closing in. There's the last lap board. So one more time around the Oulton Park Island circuit, 2.26 miles left to decide who wins the second race here. Will it be Heslop for the first time? Will Spate pick up another win? Or is Adam Brown too far away to make it 2 from 2? He's lost quite a lot of ground, but if these two get into combat in this last lap, it could be his saving grace. Up through the left-hander at Cascades, now on to Lakeside for the final time. Back on board with Spate. Fully focused on the car in front. Darts to the outside line to take the racing line. He's forcing Heslop to go defensive. Back into Island Hairpin. He'll look for the undercut on the exit, but Heslop's exit is good enough to hold the line he needs to take on the run down towards Hislop's. Now, will Heslop go defensive? The answer is yes. Moves to the inside. Spate goes with him, looks one way, then looks the other. Trying to distract Heslop into a mistake here towards the last half lap on the Oulton Park Island circuit. So only a few more corners to go and Heslop can hold on for a victory, but Spate will throw everything at him, including the kitchen sink, to make this move stick. Here he comes. Up Clay Hill, looks to the inside line, over Clay Hill. Heslop moves across, there's contact! Both cars onto the grass, Heslop carries on. A very wayward Greg Spate almost loses the car completely over the grass, gets it back onto the road, somehow doesn't lose the back end, but that has put him in a definitive second place, and now Adam Brown is all over him with just 2 more corners to go. Drama on the last lap of the race in the second encounter here at Oulton Park, but into Old Hall Corner, or Lodge Corner for the final time. We had one first time winner in race 1, now we're about to make it 2, as William Heslop heads to the checkered flag and takes victory in the second Oulton Park race here in the Hyperdrive ST-XR Challenge. Spate takes second place, it's third place for Adam Brown. Then in fourth, it's going to be Chris Rowlands, who again wins Class D, followed by his classmate Matthew Spencer in fifth. Then a long gap back to our battle for sixth. That's headed by Matthew Eldridge, ahead of Lee Shropshire. And the rest of the field comes streaming through towards the end of the race. Another cracking race to start the season, and here is the final result after drama on the last lap. So, 2 new race winners, with William Heslop winning race 2 from Greg Spate and Adam Brown. Chris Rowlands and Matthew Spencer round out the top 5 from Eldridge, Shropshire, Hennifer, Noble and Britell, with Hennifer and Noble also winning their classes respectively. Watson, Bowen, Shaw, Footers, Mellor and Lewis Bowen round out the 16 cars that finished. It's been a magnificent day of racing at Oulton Park, and here's Lyndsay with race 2 winner for the first time, William Heslop.
Well, firstly, I must congratulate you on your first ever win, not to mention podium. You must be thrilled.
Yeah, I'm over the moon. I mean, the car's been good all day and that, so really chuffed to bits. It was a tough race. It was really close between us front three. It was in the first race as well, but to come out on top I'm over the moon.
Yeah, you seem to work hard for that win in that race.
Yeah, it was some graft, I tell you. There's a bit of contact. I think there's a few words been said, but as far as I'm concerned, I've drove my race and done what I wanted to do and come out on top, so I'm really happy.
So is everything all right with the car? Ready for the next one?
Yeah, I think it's got a few scaves and stuff on it, but you're going to get that with closed wheel racing, and especially on a circuit when it's so tight. But the engine feels good, everything feels good, so we'll go again.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations on your win. We'll let you go and enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
And that brings a close on another wonderful weekend of racing here at Oulton Park for the Hyperdrive ST-XR Challenge. And what a great weekend it's been. We've had 2 podiums, both first-time winners and well-deserved. So until next time, we'll see you at Anglesey.